Get up! Now! I said stand up! Move!
What did I do?
You're making people uncomfortable.
Please, my son is coming.
Put that phone down! Step away from my mother right now. Now!
The officer's voice cut across the quiet park before anyone understood what was happening. An elderly black woman sat frozen on a bench, one hand wrapped around a paper bag of medicine, while the officer towered over her and barked, "Get up, now!" Why did a harmless grandmother become the target of a public scene that morning? Why did the crowd lower their eyes when she whispered, "Please, my son is coming"? And why did the officer's face change the moment a calm black man stepped from a dark sedan and said only 7 words? Stay until the end, because the truth behind that badge shook the entire city. The paper bag made a dry, nervous sound against Evelyn Reed's coat. Officer Cole Mercer heard it and mistook it for defiance. "I said stand up," he barked, radio crackling on his shoulder. "You don't sit here after I give an order." Evelyn kept her white shoes together beneath the bench. The fountain clicked behind her. A pharmacy label showed through the top of the bag. "I'm waiting for my son," she said. A jogger slowed, then kept moving. 2 mothers pulled strollers toward the rose beds. Near an oak, a teenage girl in a blue hoodie stopped with one earbud loose. Mercer stepped closer. His shadow reached Evelyn's knees. "This park has had complaints." "What complaint did I cause?" "Don't get smart." "I asked a question, officer." The quiet answer made Mercer turn toward the watchers. The jogger stared at the path. One mother fixed a blanket already straight. "People come here, sit all day, make others uncomfortable, then act confused when someone says something," Mercer said. Evelyn's fingers tightened. The bag folded with a soft crackle. The girl by the oak lifted her phone. Leah Brooks, 16, was late for algebra and suddenly unable to move. "Do you have a reason to remove me?" Evelyn asked. Mercer leaned down until the badge flashed in her glasses. "The reason is, I told you to." A delivery driver whispered, "Somebody should call someone." His friend answered, "Not me." Evelyn heard both. Inside the bag were blood pressure pills, eye drops, and a receipt folded twice because Marcus kept receipts. "My son is on his way," she said. "Then he can pick you up outside the park." Mercer reached toward the bench, not touching her, but close enough that she drew back. Leah's phone shook, then steadied against the bark. A second patrol car rolled along the curb. A younger officer stepped out and paused by the open door. "Briggs," Mercer snapped. "Stand by." The younger officer swallowed. "What's the call?" "Public disturbance." Evelyn looked up. "I have not disturbed anyone." "You're disturbing me." No one laughed. Evelyn lifted one hand, slow and careful. "Officer, I am 70 years old. I walked here from Cedar Street. I sat down because my knee hurts." "Then walk back." Briggs glanced at the bag. "Sir, maybe we can just—" "Did I ask you?" "No, sir." For 1 second, Evelyn's face changed. She turned the silver locket at her throat until it clicked open under her thumb, then shut it without looking inside. "My son's name is Marcus Reed," she said. "Call him." Mercer gave a sharp breath through his nose. "I don't take instructions from park loiterers." The word landed hard. A woman near the rose beds lowered her gaze. The delivery driver looked at his shoes. Leah whispered, "Oh my God!" But only the phone caught it. A dark sedan turned onto Magnolia Avenue beyond the iron fence. Evelyn saw it first. The paper bag stopped rustling. Briggs followed her eyes. Mercer did not turn yet. The sedan eased to the curb. Its engine cut off. The park held still. Water clicking, leaves sliding over concrete, Mercer breathing too loudly. Then the driver's door opened, and a calm black man in a worn dark jacket stepped out, looking first at his mother, then at the badge number on Mercer's chest. At 6:45 that morning, the kettle began to tremble on Evelyn Reed's stove. She turned the flame down before it screamed. Steam softened the window, blurring Cedar Street and leaning mailboxes. Her silver locket tapped the rim of a porcelain cup as she reached for tea. "Don't fuss at me today," she told the kettle. "I heard you." A photograph of Marcus in a plain navy suit curled on the refrigerator. Evelyn pressed it flat as her phone buzzed. "You awake?" Marcus asked. "I made tea. That answers your question." "You took your medicine?" "I am looking at the bottles." "That is not the same as taking them. You always were a lawyer before breakfast." A pause came through the line, filled with faint paper sounds. "I'll come by after my meeting. Stay near the house until then." "Near the house includes the park." "Ma, the bench by the fountain counts as public seating. Call me if anything feels off." Evelyn watched a patrol car roll past, white panels flashing between magnolia branches. The tires hissed over damp grit. "Everything feels off when your son talks like a locked drawer," she said. "I'll explain soon." "That means you won't." "Keep your phone charged." "Yes, sir." "Don't call me, sir." "Then don't issue orders." His laugh almost arrived. "I love you." "I know. Come hungry." After the call, Evelyn lined up her pill bottles beside the tea. 1, 2, 3. The cotton in the blood pressure bottle clung to her nail. She swallowed with a face she would never allow Marcus to see. The locket knocked the cup again. A knock came at the back door. Clara Bell, 74, stood on the porch with a grocery bag cutting into her wrist. In a yellow cardigan, narrow as a broom handle, she looked as if wind had brought her there. "Tell me you got 5 minutes," Clara said. "I have 6 if you're not bringing gossip." "Then I have 4. The spring air smelled of wet soil and laundry soap. Clara stepped in and dropped the bag on a chair. "That officer was circling Magnolia Park yesterday." "Which officer?" "The loud one. Square jaw. Walks like the sidewalk owes him money." "Mercer? The one who told Arthur off near chess tables?" Clara rubbed the red mark on her wrist. "Arthur didn't tell me." "Arthur tells half a story." They sorted cans and oranges into a cloth tote. Evelyn added crackers. "You don't have to do that." "I know. That's why it counts." Outside, the same patrol car eased past again. Clara's mouth tightened. Maybe skip the park today. Evelyn picked up her coat. The cuffs were worn smooth. She slipped medicine into a small paper pharmacy bag and tucked her phone beside it. "If I stop walking where I belong, Clara, I'll keep shrinking until I fit in my own kitchen." "That boy of yours won't like it." "That boy learned stubborn from a professional." At the door, Evelyn turned the locket between thumb and forefinger. Inside was Marcus at 12, holding a paper medal after her double shift. Clara lifted the grocery bag. "Call me when you get home." "I'll call when the fountain starts behaving." Evelyn stepped into pale sunlight. The sidewalk felt cool through her white shoes. Down the block, near Magnolia Avenue, the patrol car waited longer than traffic required. At 7:18 a.m., Marcus Reed parked 2 blocks from Cedar Street and watched the dashboard clock change. The neighborhood woke in pieces. A mower coughing behind a fence, a screen door slapping, a dog chain scraping gravel. He wore an old canvas jacket with sawdust on one sleeve, looking like a tired handyman no one needed to study twice. On the passenger seat lay work gloves and a plain gray folder. At his mother's house, the loose porch board groaned under his boot. Marcus set the gloves beside the folder and slid a pry bar under the plank. "Thought you were some contractor," a voice called. Henry Mills, 59, came up the walk in a faded mail shirt, chewing mint gum like it was keeping him quiet. "You back for good?" "For now." "That means no." "It means I'm fixing what needs fixing." Henry glanced at the folder. "Your mama said the same thing about people. She left for the park 10 minutes ago." The pry bar stopped. "I saw that patrol car again," Henry added. "Same one crawling around Magnolia." Marcus pulled the nail free with a slow metal squeal. "People been talking?" "Arthur, Clara, 2 ladies from the clinic. They say complaints disappear." "I deliver mail," Henry added. "I don't need telling." Marcus set the bent nail on the step. Point turned away. If someone kept copies, would they still have them? Henry's gum stopped moving. "Depends who's asking." "Her son." "Just her son?" Marcus touched the gray folder. "Today, yes." At 7:41, Evelyn appeared from Clara Bell's porch, carrying an extra cloth tote. Marcus stood so fast the board rocked. "You said park," he called. "I said near the house includes the park. Clara intercepted me." Clara appeared behind her in a yellow cardigan. "I requested assistance from a licensed stubborn woman." Marcus took the tote. It smelled of oranges, paper, and lavender soap. "You should have called." "I should have married rich, too, but the morning got away from me." Evelyn noticed the folder. "You brought work to my porch." "It's not work." "Marcus." He brushed sawdust from the gloves. "A few neighbors asked questions. I'm organizing what they wrote down." "The city ignored them." "Then the city can read better copies." Her face tightened. "I don't want you making yourself a target." "I came because you called about Arthur." "I called because Arthur cried in my kitchen and blamed Pepper. And because an officer threatened to cite him at a chess table." "He is 78. That did not protect him." Evelyn touched the locket at her throat. The tiny click made Marcus lower his eyes. "No," Evelyn said, before Clara could leave. "Stay. Men with folders need witnesses." Marcus opened the folder just enough to show neat tabs. No seal, no title. On the first page were dates, badge numbers, and 3 words circled in pencil. No written warning. "What are you not telling me?" Evelyn asked. "Enough to keep you safe." "That has never been an answer." A patrol car rolled slowly past the house. Sun slid across its windshield, hiding the driver. Henry stepped back from the curb. Marcus watched the car turn toward Magnolia Avenue. Then his phone buzzed with an unknown number, and the message said, "Your mother is in the park with Mercer." Marcus read the message twice before his thumb found the call button. He grabbed the gray folder and was off the porch when Clara called. "Marcus?" "Stay by your phone." "That is not an answer." "It's the one I have." Magnolia Park was 3 minutes away. At the gate, he saw the patrol car, then Evelyn near the chess tables, both hands around the medicine bag. Mercer stood over Arthur Gaines, 78, a thin black veteran in a tan cap. "You people keep misunderstanding simple rules," Mercer said. Arthur's jaw worked. "I was sitting at a board." "You were blocking public access." "To a chess table?" Evelyn saw Marcus and gave the smallest shake of her head. Not here. Marcus slowed. Gravel pressed through his soles. Officer, Mercer turned. This isn't your business. That woman is my mother. Then explain that complaints in a park create tension. Evelyn lifted her chin. Arthur asked where to mail a letter. A letter about what? Mercer snapped. Arthur folded the envelope until one corner bent. About you. The fountain sounded too loud. Mercer stepped closer. Marcus did not. Careful, Mercer said. Marcus looked at the badge number. Mr. Gaines, keep that dry. A radio call pulled Mercer toward his car. Next time, I won't talk this long. At 9:10, they gathered in the basement of New Hope Methodist. Folding chairs scraped waxed floor. Coffee burned in a silver urn. Henry Mills stood by the door. Marcus opened the gray folder. I'm asking for dates, names, and what happened after you complained. Clara took a folded sheet from her purse. The paper smelled of lavender soap and the old pharmacy folder Evelyn used for receipts. I made copies, Clara said, because Sergeant Whitlock told me there was no record. Evelyn slid the sheet toward Marcus. Her handwriting filled the margins. Arthur, April 3rd. Mrs. Bell, March 19th. Henry leaned in. Whitlock signed off on two. A voice at the doorway said, That's serious to say in a church basement. Sergeant Dana Whitlock stood under the exit sign, 46. Pale hair pinned tight, uniform sleeves sharp as paper. Evelyn's locket clicked shut. Whitlock looked from the folder to Marcus. And you are? Marcus Reed. That doesn't answer the question. It answers the one you asked. Arthur muttered. Told you he talks like a courthouse. Whitlock stepped inside. The coffee urn hissed. Residents can file concerns through channels. Private collections can confuse elderly people. Clara gripped a chair back. We were confused when the channels swallowed them. Mrs. Bell, I suggest caution. Marcus closed the folder. Suggestion noted. Are you representing them? Today I'm listening. Then listen carefully, Whitlock said. Incomplete stories damage reputations. Evelyn rose. Reputations heal faster than old people who stop leaving their houses. No one moved. Whitlock looked at Evelyn. Something flickered before the uniform took it back. Ma'am, I hope you know what your son is encouraging. Evelyn placed the lavender-scented list in Marcus's folder. I taught him to finish what people leave unfinished, she said. Whitlock left without another word. Beyond the frosted window, a patrol radio chirped once, then went silent. By 10:26 a.m., the church basement smelled of burnt coffee and floor wax. Evelyn stacked paper cups while Arthur folded his letter. Outside the narrow window, Marcus stood with Henry. Clara touched Evelyn's elbow. Come home with me. I'm going to the park. After that woman came in here? Especially after. Wait for Marcus. He has work he won't name. Evelyn picked up the paper medicine bag. And I have a bench that never asked me for papers. Magnolia Park was bright, all white path and fountain spray. Children shouted near the swings. A water cellar opened a cooler. Evelyn chose her bench by the fountain and lowered herself, palm first, then knee, then breath. A patrol car curved along the path and stopped instead of passing. Its engine idled with a low tremor. The shadow stretched across the pavement and covered the tips of Evelyn's white shoes. She did not move them. Officer Cole Mercer stepped out and shut the door hard enough to turn two heads. Ma'am, Evelyn kept her hands folded over the bag. Officer, you were advised this morning to avoid interfering with park operations. I was advised of nothing in writing. His mouth tightened. You want to play word games? I want to sit where I am allowed to sit. A woman pushing a stroller slowed. The water seller stared into his cooler. Mercer came closer. We've had complaints. From whom? That's not your concern. If the complaint is about me, it is partly my concern. His radio hissed. He touched it, then let it go. Stand up. The swing chains creaked behind her. Cut grass mixed with the warm metal smell of the fountain rail. The paper bag crackled under her thumb. My knee needs a minute. You had a minute. I have had 70 years, officer. They taught me to ask why. Near the oak tree, Leah Brooks stopped with one earbud hanging loose. Her phone was already in her hand. Mercer pointed toward the gate. This park is for everyone. Then I am included. Not if you're creating concern. Leah whispered. What concern? But only the phone caught it. The stroller woman looked at Evelyn, looked at Mercer, then rolled backward 2 steps. Evelyn saw the apology in her eyes and the retreat in her hands. Mercer bent closer. I'm giving you one last chance to cooperate before this becomes official. It became official when you used your badge to remove an old woman without cause. His face changed. Not much. Enough. Don't get smart. Evelyn's phone vibrated inside the bag. Marcus. She did not reach for it. If she moved too fast, Mercer would make that the story. I'm calling my son, she said. No, you're standing up. My son is nearby. Then he can meet you outside the park. Leah's thumb trembled over the screen. Ma'am, do you want me to call someone? Mercer snapped his head around. Put that phone down. Leah froze. Evelyn turned just enough to see the girl's face. Child, hold it steady. The fountain clicked. Somewhere a child laughed once, then stopped. Mercer straightened, anger rising into his voice. Get up. Now. Evelyn slowly lifted the medicine bag from her lap. The car shadow still covered the edge of her shoes. Beyond the gate, tires whispered to the curb, and a dark sedan came into view. The dark sedan stopped beside the iron fence without a squeal. Evelyn saw Marcus before Mercer turned. He stepped out in the same worn jacket, one sleeve dusted from the porch board. His eyes crossed the scene. His mother's white shoes under the patrol car's shadow, Leah's phone by the oak, Mercer's badge, Briggs near the door. Step away from my mother right now. The words were not loud. They cut through the fountain's clicking water. Pigeons burst from the stone rim, wings slapping the air. Mercer turned as if the quiet voice had come from someone taller. Who are you supposed to be? Marcus closed the car door. Her son. Then wait outside while I handle this. You don't have a lawful reason to remove her. Evelyn tried to rise, but her knee caught. Marcus looked at the paper bag. Ma, stay seated. I'm fine. You don't have to be. Leah kept recording, phone braced against the bark. Sergeant Whitlock came from behind the fountain. Officer Mercer, status. Subject refusing a lawful order. Male party interfering. Marcus looked at her. Sergeant Whitlock. Her smile thinned. Mr. Reed, this is not the place. It became the place when your officer made my mother the lesson. Mercer stepped between them. You don't speak for this department. No, I'm asking what policy removes her from a bench without warning, citation, or complainant. Briggs shifted beside the patrol car. His hand moved toward his notebook, then stopped. Whitlock noticed. Officer Briggs, stay where you are. Mercer pointed at Marcus's chest. Back up. I'm already 6 feet away. Back up anyway. On what basis? Interference. Interference requires a lawful duty. Name the duty. Heat lifted from the pavement, carrying cut grass and exhaust. Evelyn's medicine bag folded under her palm. "Marcus," she said. He turned his head. "I hear you." She shook her head once, warning him not to spend himself on her behalf. Whitlock lowered her voice. "Take your mother home and file your complaint." The adult choice was to stop him before witnesses gathered. Mercer's jaw tightened. "You're escalating." "I'm standing still." Leah whispered. "He is." Mercer swung toward her. "I told you about that phone." Marcus stepped between Mercer and the girl. "Do not threaten a minor witness." The word witness changed the air. The stroller woman stopped backing away. The water seller shut his cooler with a soft thud. Briggs opened his notebook. "Everyone needs to move along," Whitlock said. "No," Arthur Gaines called from the path. "We keep moving along. That's how it keeps happening." Marcus slowly removed his wallet. "Hands where I can see them," Mercer snapped. "They are." He opened the wallet only toward Whitlock. She saw enough to lose color around her mouth. "Put it away," she said quickly. Marcus closed it. "Then correct this." Mercer looked from Marcus to Whitlock. "What was that?" "Nothing you need," she said. But Briggs had seen her face. So had Leah's phone. Evelyn stood, the medicine bag pressed to her chest. "I will go home when my son walks me home. Not because you frightened me off a bench." Mercer's face hardened. "Fine," he said. "Then we make it official." "Official how?" Marcus asked. Mercer raised his voice for the crowd. "Officer Briggs, detain him." Briggs's pen froze. "Sir? You heard me." The fountain clicked behind Evelyn like a small clock. Marcus kept his hands open. "Detained for what?" "Obstructing a lawful order." There was no lawful order. "Debated at the station." Whitlock crossed the dry magnolia petals. "Mr. Reed, do not make this harder." Marcus glanced at his mother. Her paper medicine bag had folded around the bottles, corners soft from her grip. "Ma, breathe in through your nose. Don't you manage me right now." Mercer snapped. "Hands behind your back." Leah raised her phone when Arthur Gaines said, "Keep recording, child." "Sir," Briggs said, "he's not resisting." "He's refusing compliance." Marcus turned his wrists slowly behind him. "Note that I am complying under protest." The handcuffs clicked once, then again. The metal was cold from the patrol car's air, tight against bone. Marcus did not flinch, but Evelyn heard the second click and touched the locket at her throat. "No," she said. Mercer took Marcus by the elbow and guided him toward the car. Not rough enough for headlines, firm enough for everyone to understand. The crowd opened without being asked. Marcus's gray folder slipped from under his arm. It hit the path with a flat slap. Papers fanned over the concrete. Dates, badge numbers, notes in Evelyn's small handwriting. Mercer's shoe smudged the front page. Evelyn bent too quickly. "Ma, I can pick up paper." Arthur reached her first, knees stiff. "Let me." Whitlock crouched and gathered the pages faster than either of them. Her thumb paused on the top sheet. Public complaint. Magnolia Park. Officer C. Mercer. No written warning. She stacked the papers. "This is not relevant." Marcus watched her fold the cover over the words. "Then leave it." "I will secure it with his property." "It isn't his property," Evelyn said. "Some pages are mine." Whitlock handed the folder to Briggs. "Bag it." Briggs did not move. "Sergeant, if these are complaints—" "Bag it." A siren chirped from Magnolia Avenue and vanished, leaving the park quieter than before. Leah stepped from the oak. "Officer, I sent the video." Mercer turned. "To who?" The girl's face had gone pale. "Where it needs to go." Whitlock straightened. You may be asked to provide that device. My mom said I don't hand my phone to anyone without a warrant. Mercer shoved the rear door open. Enough. Evelyn walked to Marcus before they could seat him. Her white shoes crossed the patrol car shadow, slow but steady. Look at me, she said. He turned. The cuffs pulled his shoulders back. This is not your fault. I did not ask that. What did you ask? For you to remember who you are when they forget. Leah's phone buzzed. A reply lit the screen from Nora. I have it. Stay safe. Do not delete. Briggs saw the message and looked toward the folder under his arm. His fingers tightened around it. Whitlock opened the front passenger door. Mercer, I'll ride in. I can handle him. I said I'll ride in. Evelyn stood beside the bench, one hand over her locket, the other empty. The medicine bag lay forgotten in the thin strip of sun. The interview room smelled of old coffee, floor cleaner, cold metal. Marcus sat with cuffed hands on the table. Mercer had insisted on leaving them that way. A fluorescent tube buzzed above him until the wall blinked. Mercer dropped a form. Name? You have my license. Say it. Marcus read. Occupation. Marcus looked at the black camera in the corner. Its red light was dark. Son? Funny? No. Then answer properly. Through narrow glass, Marcus saw Evelyn on a hallway bench, the paper medicine bag on her knees, fingers flat against it to keep it from shaking. Duty Officer Mara Hill, 52, silver threads in her bun, stood nearby with a clipboard. You should let her go home, Marcus said. You should have thought of that before making a scene. I stood still. You challenged an officer in public. I asked for policy. Mercer leaned closer. His breath smelled of peppermint. Policy is not a shield. No, it is the line you don't cross. The door opened. Sergeant Whitlock stepped in with the gray folder. Camera? Marcus asked. Equipment is being checked. Convenient. You're being held while we clarify what happened. You know what happened. I know you inserted yourself into an active encounter. My mother was the encounter. And your tone made it worse. Marcus rubbed 3 carved initials on the plastic table until the cuff chain tapped. In the hall, Evelyn's voice rose. I told you, I am not leaving without my son. Mara answered, Ma'am, I can call someone to sit with you. I am sitting with me just fine. Mercer smirked. She's dramatic. Marcus's fingers closed once. Do not talk about her. Or what? Or I will remember it clearly. Whitlock placed the folder on the table. A dark smear crossed the cover where Mercer's shoe had touched it. These papers, she said. Who collected them? Citizens. Under your direction? Under their own disappointment. She lifted Evelyn's lavender-scented list. Repeated complaints. Badge numbers. Organized. People become organized when being ignored stops working. Mercer laughed once. Calm voice, big words. Poor mother in the hallway. The light buzzed harder. Behind the glass, Evelyn tried to stand. Mara put one careful hand near her elbow without touching. Evelyn pressed the medicine bag to her chest and looked through the window. Marcus saw the face she had worn years ago outside a hospital room, pretending a double shift had not emptied her. I need to know if she took her blood pressure medicine, he said. Mercer rolled his eyes. We're not running a clinic. Mara's voice came through the door. Sergeant? Whitlock opened it a crack. The blue bottle is due before noon. I'm not comfortable refusing that. Marcus did not look at Mercer. Mara, 1 tablet. Water, not coffee. Mara met his eyes through the gap, surprised he knew her name from the desk plate. Understood. Whitlock closed the door slowly. Her gaze had changed. "Write the report," she told Mercer. He picked up his pen. Subject became aggressive. "No," Marcus said. Mercer looked up. Marcus leaned toward the silent camera. "That is false." Whitlock's jaw tightened. In the hallway, the paper bag crackled once, then stopped. Leah's phone would not stop vibrating. At 11:37 a.m., she sat at her mother's kitchen table. The screen glowed blue. Each buzz made the spoon in her cereal tick against glass. Her mother, Tanya, stood by the sink. "Leah, tell me you did not post that." "I sent it to Aunt Nora." "That is posting with extra steps." "She told me to send anything like this." Leah pressed play. Mercer's voice filled the kitchen. "Get up, now." Evelyn's answer followed. Then Marcus, calm and exact, standing between badge and bench. Tanya covered her mouth. "That woman is Mrs. Reed. She gave me peppermints at church." The phone buzzed again. Nora King wrote, "I have it. Don't delete. Don't answer unknown calls." Across town, Nora King, 41, crossed the newsroom with a coffee stain on one sleeve and reading glasses in her hair. She had covered City Hall long enough to distrust neat statements. "Who shot this?" her editor asked. "My niece." "Then slow down." "No, we get it right fast." Nora froze the video on the gray folder hitting the path. She zoomed until the smudged page filled her monitor. Public complaint. Magnolia Park. Officer C. Mercer. At 12:08 p.m., Arthur Gaines arrived with his tan cap in both hands. "I don't trust computers," he said. "Then trust paper." He opened a manila envelope of complaint receipts and one folded letter. "They said mine was never filed," Arthur said, "but I mailed it certified." Nora turned the green postal slip over. Her thumb stopped on Sergeant Dana Whitlock's signature. "Do you understand what this proves?" He looked at the elevator lights. "It proves I wasn't losing my mind." At the station, phones rang in uneven bursts. Front desk, Whitlock's office, the captain's empty room. The sound reached Marcus through the interview room door. Mercer looked at his phone, then turned it face down. "Ignore it." Whitlock stepped in. "Cole, outside." Through the glass, Marcus watched them argue near the vending machine. "It's one video," Mercer said. "It shows your cuffs, his folder, and my officer holding documents." Briggs stood near the copier with the gray folder under his arm. He had not bagged it. Mara Hill set a paper cup of water beside Evelyn. "Take it slow, ma'am." Evelyn swallowed the tablet. "Has anyone called my son's office?" Mara hesitated. "I don't know where that is." "No," Evelyn said. "Neither do they." At 12:22, Nora's article wasn't public yet, but the clip had reached the city desk and the oversight intake line. Leah watched the view count climb from 1,204 to 3,881, while sunlight warmed the edge of her phone. Tanya pulled out the chair. "What did your aunt say?" Leah read aloud. "Stay home. Save the original. Tell your mother I'm sorry, but this is bigger than the park." The phone buzzed again from an unknown number. Leah did not touch it. At the station, Whitlock returned with Mercer behind her, face flat and careful. "Mr. Reed," she said, "there may have been confusion about the circumstances." Marcus looked at the dark camera, then at the smear on the folder. "Confusion usually leaves fingerprints," he said. Before she could answer, the phone rang again, and Mara called down the hall. "Sergeant, it's the Civilian Oversight Commission." Mara's voice carried down the hall sharper than the ringing phone. Whitlock turned toward the desk. "Tell them I'll call back." Mara kept the receiver at her ear. "They asked for Mr. Reed." Mercer's head snapped around. How would they know he's here? Behind the glass, Marcus sat with cuffs linking his wrists to the table. Evelyn held the paper bag so tightly the top folded into a white crease. Whitlock took the phone. "This is Sergeant Whitlock." Her face changed. "No, ma'am, he's not under arrest. Detained after an interference issue." Another pause. "I understand." "Who is it?" Mercer asked. Whitlock covered the mouthpiece. "Quiet." Briggs stood near the copier, eyes fixed on the gray folder he had refused to bag. Whitlock hung up. "Officer Briggs, remove the cuffs." Mercer laughed once. "What?" "Now." Briggs entered with the key. It trembled against the ring. "I'm sorry, sir," he whispered. "Write down what you saw," Marcus said. The cuffs opened. Red lines stayed around Marcus's wrists. At 12:34 p.m., the doors opened. Rachel Montoya, 50, crossed the lobby in a charcoal suit, silver-black hair cut at her jaw. "Sergeant Whitlock." "Inspector Montoya." Mercer looked between them. "Inspector." Rachel's eyes moved to Marcus. "Counselor Reed." The title landed harder than a shout. Evelyn's bag stopped rustling. Marcus stood. "Rachel." She saw the cuff marks, dark camera, and smudged folder. "You were supposed to observe intake patterns, not become intake." "I adjusted to local conditions." "That is not funny." "No." Whitlock cleared her throat. "We were not informed Mr. Reed was operating officially." Rachel opened her notebook. "His role was limited disclosure after 7 complaints were closed without contact. Your office was notified an external review could occur. That notice did not name him. It named the commission." Mercer's voice dropped. "He's an investigator?" Marcus looked through the glass at his mother. "Former military counsel, special investigator, Civilian Oversight Commission." Mara lowered her eyes. Mercer's mouth worked, but no sentence came out. Rachel turned to Briggs. "That folder." Briggs handed it over. "I did not log it as property." "Why?" "It contained complaints." Rachel wrote one line. The pen scratched loudly. Whitlock said, "Officer Briggs is inexperienced." Marcus answered, "He hesitated for the right reason." Evelyn rose. "Is my son free to leave?" Rachel softened. "Yes, Mrs. Reed." "Then I would like him not to be here." Marcus stepped into the hallway. Evelyn touched his wrist, saw the marks, and turned the medicine bag until the crease faced inward. "I told you to remember who you are," she said. "I did." "Did you remember lunch?" "Not yet." "Then you still need supervision." A small sound moved through the lobby. Not laughter exactly. Air returning. Rachel shut the gray folder. "Counselor, we need your statement." "You'll have it," Marcus said. "After I take my mother home." Whitlock objected. "We still need to resolve." Rachel cut her off. "Sergeant, you are finished resolving this alone." Mercer stepped back. Marcus picked up Evelyn's paper bag from the bench. For the first time that morning, it made no sound at all. The City Hall microphone squealed before anyone spoke. Marcus sat at the witness table with Evelyn on his left and Rachel Montoya on his right. The room smelled of varnish, damp coats, and copy paper. Elderly residents lined the back wall with canes between their shoes. Mayor Allison Price, 55, tapped the gavel once. "This special hearing will come to order." Evelyn flinched as the microphone whined. Marcus placed one finger beside her paper cup. City Attorney Samuel Voss, 48, stood by a side table. "The city requests verified facts." Arthur Gaines called from the second row. "Facts are why we came." Leah Brooks sat near the aisle with Tanya beside her. Her phone rested in a clear evidence sleeve. Rachel leaned toward Marcus. "You don't need to speak first." I know. Not today? Not today. Denise Hall, the stroller mother, came up first. Her wedding ring clicked against the stand. I backed away, she said. Mrs. Reed looked at me, and I backed away. Voss stepped forward. So your testimony concerns how you felt. It concerns what I saw, Denise said. An old woman being made small in front of her neighbors. Leah walked up next, sneakers squeaking. Name, Mayor Price said. Leah Brooks, 16, junior at Linden High. Voss adjusted his folders. You recorded without being asked? I recorded because no one else moved. Rachel said, play the original. The screen came on. Mercer's voice filled City Hall. Get up, now. Then Evelyn's quiet answer, the paper bag crackling, Marcus's 7 words, the cuffs closing. Briggs stared at his knees. When the clip ended, breath returned in pieces. A cough, a chair leg, the buzz of lights. Mercer sat beside Whitlock, his jaw flexed. Whitlock's thumbnail pressed a half moon into her skin. Arthur came next with his tan cap under one arm. I wrote mine on April 3rd. They told me there was no record. Voss held up a page. This receipt only shows mailing. Arthur pointed at the bottom. It shows who signed. Mayor Price took the paper. Sergeant Whitlock? Whitlock stood. A signature does not mean I reviewed it. Arthur leaned toward the microphone. It screamed before his words came. Ma'am, when you told me I was confused, you were looking right at this paper. Briggs rose without being called. Madam Mayor. Whitlock turned. Officer Briggs, I need to correct something. Voss stiffened. This witness has not been scheduled. Mayor Price looked at Rachel. Rachel nodded once. Briggs walked to the microphone, face pale under the ceiling lights. The report from Magnolia Park was incomplete. Mr. Reed asked for policy. Mrs. Reed did not raise her voice. I was told to bag the folder as property. I did not because it contained complaint documents. Mercer pushed back his chair. You're twisting it. Briggs kept his eyes on the microphone. No, sir. Mayor Price struck the gavel. Officer Mercer, sit down. Evelyn held the paper cup, but the lid no longer trembled. Rachel closed her notebook. The commission requests preservation of body camera files, dispatch logs, park footage, and prior complaints involving these officers. Mayor Price nodded. Granted. Nora King lifted her recorder closer, and the red light stayed on. At 3:16 p.m., Nora King's article went live. She did not use an angry headline. She used dates. 5 park complaints, 3 missing callbacks, 2 closed reviews with the same signature. Her editor read over her shoulder. The city will call this incomplete, he said. Good, Nora answered. Then they can complete it in public. At the commission office, Rachel Montoya stood before a conference table covered in discs, logs, and sealed envelopes. Marcus sat at one end, with Evelyn's medicine bag beside his elbow because his mother refused to leave it. Joel Pierce, 34, the commission's data analyst, entered with a tablet under one arm. His cuffs were too short, and he blinked before every hard sentence. Park camera files came through, he said. Dispatch logs, too. Body camera archives are partial. Partial how? Rachel asked. Mercer's unit has gaps. Whitlock's notes are present, but several clips were marked non-evidentiary. Marcus looked at the wall clock. Who marked them? Joel turned the tablet. Same reviewer code. Rachel read it and said nothing. Evelyn sat near the window, silver locket against her sweater. Say the name. Joel swallowed. Sergeant Whitlock. The room went still, except for the air vent. On the screen, Magnolia Park appeared from above. The fountain, the bench, the shadow reaching Evelyn's shoes. Joel tapped again. Another date. Arthur at the chess table, cap in both hands. Another tap. Clara Bell near the rose beds, holding a citation she had never received in writing. Each clip carried a timestamp in the lower corner. 9:12, 14:47, 8:03. The numbers flashed one after another. Rachel folded her arms. Pattern? Joel nodded. Older residents, mostly alone. Contact begins as a welfare check or park complaint. Outcome disappears or gets coded as resolved. Marcus's fingers rested near the medicine bag. Resolved for whom? No one answered. Across town, Whitlock sat in the captain's empty office with Mercer by the blinds. Nora's article lay between them. "You made this bigger," Whitlock said. Mercer's face reddened. "I did what you told us. Keep the park clean. Move problems before they become calls. I never told you to put cuffs on an investigator. You never told me he was one." She looked at the article. "Because I didn't know." He leaned over the desk. "But you knew about the complaints." Whitlock's hand closed over the paper. "Careful." A knock cut through the room. Briggs stood outside, no cap, notebook in hand. "Sergeant, the commission requested all unit files." "They'll get what's required." "They asked for original metadata." Mercer scoffed. "You their messenger now?" Briggs did not look at him. "No, sir. I'm trying not to lie twice." Back at the commission office, Joel opened a final folder. There's more. Rachel's pen stopped. Internal review summaries. 3 closed without interview. 2 marked citizen declined follow-up. But the call logs show no outgoing attempts. Evelyn's locket clicked under her thumb. Marcus looked at Rachel. Preserve everything before anyone remembers how to lose it. Joel turned the screen toward them. 5 identical review boxes glowed in a column, each stamped with the time, the same code, the same name. Evelyn asked for no chair. The room had grown warm, coats damp on seats, the air thick with paper dust and camera batteries. Marcus stood when she rose, but she touched his sleeve with 2 fingers. "Sit, baby." She walked to the microphone with the medicine bag under one arm and the silver locket in her other hand. She set the locket down, then changed her mind and handed it to Marcus. "Hold this for me." His palm opened. The small oval looked too light to matter and too heavy to close around. Mayor Price leaned forward. "Mrs. Reed, take your time." "I have taken 70 years," Evelyn said. "I can take 1 minute correctly." The microphone squealed, then settled. Samuel Voss stood. "State your full name." "Evelyn May Reed, retired nurse, Cedar Street resident, mother." Marcus lowered his eyes to the locket. Beneath scratched glass was a faded photo of him at 12, smiling with a paper medal pinned to his shirt. Voss cleared his throat. "Did Officer Mercer cause visible injury?" Evelyn looked at Voss until he glanced down. "No." Mercer's shoulders eased. Then Evelyn said, "He did something the camera has trouble measuring." The room went quiet. "I spent 38 years teaching frightened people how to breathe when rooms smelled like bleach and bad news," she said. "That morning, in a public park, I had to teach myself." Voss shifted. "Please limit your statement to facts." "That is a fact," Arthur whispered. "Amen," before Clara touched his wrist. Evelyn rested both hands on the table edge. "He did not ask if I needed help. He did not ask why I was sitting. He saw my age, my bag, my body moving slowly, and decided I would be easy to move." Mercer looked at the floor. "He told me the park was for everyone," Evelyn said. "Then he acted as if everyone did not include me." Voss tried again. "You agree he used words, not physical force?" Marcus's fingers closed around the chain. Evelyn turned toward Voss. When a uniform makes an old woman choose between obeying a wrong order and becoming a public problem, do you need bruises to know something happened? No one moved. The gavel stayed in Mayor Price's hand. Briggs stared ahead, blinking too fast. Nora's recorder light burned red. Evelyn looked toward Mercer. I am not here to make you smaller. I know what small feels like. I would not wish it on you. Mercer's mouth opened, then closed. But you made a habit out of guessing who had no witness, she said. That is why I am speaking. Rachel stood. The commission asks that Mrs. Reed's statement be entered in full. Entered, Mayor Price said. Evelyn reached for the locket. Marcus did not release it at once. For half a second, mother and son held the same chain. You kept it, she whispered. You gave it so you would come home. He placed it in her palm. I did. The chain caught one bright line of afternoon light. Mercer stood. Mrs. Reed. Whitlock turned sharply. Cole? His voice thinned. I don't know what I can say. Evelyn stopped beside Marcus. Then start by not saying it for yourself. Joel Pierce hurried in and handed Rachel a sealed envelope. Rachel broke it open, read, and her face hardened. Madam Mayor, she said, we have just received the missing review log. Rachel held the review log high enough for the first row to see the red stamp. Before anyone leaves, she said, this room needs to know what was hidden. Mayor Price set the gavel down. Read it. Paper rasped near the microphone. Arthur Gaines, April 3rd. Closed as citizen declined follow-up. No call attempt recorded. Reviewer code, D. Whitlock. Whitlock's hand slid to her lap. Clara Bell, March 19th. Closed as unfounded after officer contact. No interview attached. Same reviewer. Clara's yellow cardigan glowed under the chamber lights. She never called me. Mercer whispered, Dana. Don't, Whitlock said. Voss removed his glasses. The city should preserve every related file now. The city should have done that before Mrs. Reed had to stand here, Arthur said. A murmur rolled through the benches. The room smelled of hot wires, damp coats, and toner. Evelyn sat straight, the locket closed in her fist. Rachel turned to Marcus. Counselor Reed, the commission will recommend action. Add anything? Marcus rose. Red cuff marks crossed his wrists. My mother asked me not to make this personal, he said. So I won't. Mercer lifted his eyes. Marcus placed one sheet on the table. Suspend Officer Mercer pending external review. Remove Sergeant Whitlock from supervisory authority. Preserve metadata under commission seal. Open a public intake line for residents told there was no record. Mayor Price wrote quickly. Anything else? Yes. Every welfare check or park removal involving an elderly or disabled resident needs a written reason, a body camera check, and a supervisor outside the responding chain. No more disappearing complaints. Voss said, That may require budget. Evelyn spoke without standing. Cheaper than teaching a city to look away. No one answered. 2 hours later, at Magnolia Park, workers bolted a metal sign beside the fountain. The drill whined through the afternoon. New Civilian Helpline, it read, with a number large enough for tired eyes. Arthur stood beside Clara. Should have had that before. Clara held his sleeve. It's here now. Briggs arrived without his cap. Sir, I gave Inspector Montoya my full statement. Did you keep a copy? Yes. Good. He looked at the sign. I should have acted sooner. Marcus said, Next time, sooner is the job. Briggs swallowed. Yes, sir. At the station, Mercer emptied his locker into a cardboard box. His badge lay on a desk in a clear envelope, just metal under plastic. Whitlock passed him with a phone pressed to her ear. "They can't put everything on me," he said. She stopped. "They don't have to. We signed our own names." Back in the park, Evelyn touched the sign with 2 fingers. The metal was still warm from the sun. Marcus stood beside her. "You asked for a bench." "I still have one." "You got a policy, too." Children ran past, sneakers slapping the path. Leah filmed from a distance. Evelyn opened her locket and closed it again. "Policies are just promises wearing screws." Marcus almost smiled. "Then we'll check the screws." Across the path, the warning notice had been taken down. 4 pale rectangles remained where tape had blocked the light, and beside them the new number shone against the post. 3 months later, the bench by the fountain had new paint on one arm and a scratch no one bothered to cover. Evelyn Reed sat there at 8:03 a.m., white shoes together, medicine bag folded beside her purse instead of crushed in her fist. Spring heat had turned soft. Water clicked over stone. Across the path, the new helpline sign caught sun. Clara Bell arrived with 2 paper cups of tea. "People watch this bench like it's a monument." "It is a bench," Evelyn said. "It has better manners than some people." Arthur Gaines came next, carrying yellow flowers wrapped in grocery paper. He placed them near the post. "For everyone who stopped coming," he said. Evelyn touched his sleeve. "Sit before your knees, write a complaint." At City Hall, the first public accountability report was released the same morning. Nora King stood at the back with her recorder off. Mayor Price read the changes. Every park removal now required a written reason. Welfare checks involving elderly or disabled residents needed outside supervisor review. Body camera gaps triggered inquiry. Complaint numbers were mailed within 5 business days. Mara Hill trained the front desk on the new intake form. Briggs, transferred to community response under mentorship, demonstrated how to explain a complaint number without sounding like he was doing someone a favor. He caught Marcus watching from the doorway. "I still hear the cuffs," Briggs said quietly. Marcus looked at the clipboard. "Then use the sound." Briggs nodded and turned back. The report named consequences in plain language. Cole Mercer had been terminated after external review and referred for a licensing hearing tied to false reporting. Dana Whitlock had been removed from supervisory duty, accepted an administrative settlement, and could not hold a command role again. 3 older complaints were reopened. 2 residents received formal apologies in person, not by mail. No one cheered. Evelyn only folded her program once and placed it in her purse. By afternoon, Leah Brooks arrived at the park with a white envelope from the commission. She had been invited to join a youth civic reporting program. Tanya stood behind her, arms crossed, pretending not to wipe her eyes. "I only recorded," Leah said. Evelyn took her hand. "You stayed." Leah looked toward the oak tree. "I almost ran." "So did half the grown people." "Not you." Evelyn opened her locket. Inside, the old photo of Marcus at 12 had been joined by a tiny new picture Clara had taken after the hearing. Marcus walking his mother out of City Hall, the paper medicine bag in his hand like something breakable. Marcus came through the gate just before sunset. He wore the same plain jacket. The cuff marks had left faint shadows around his wrists when the light hit right. "You missed the report," Evelyn said. "I read it." "You always read before arriving." "Occupational flaw." She handed him the locket. "Close it. My fingers are tired." He shut it gently, then placed it back in her palm. "You carried us." Evelyn looked at the fountain. "No, I sat still long enough for people to see." Across the path, the old warning notice was gone. The new sign held steady in the evening light. A child chased pigeons near the fountain, and this time no one told the benches who belonged there. Evelyn closed her hand over the locket. The water kept clicking. If you have ever witnessed someone being treated as if their voice did not matter, share your story in the comments. Sometimes one honest witness can help others find the courage to speak. Share this story with someone who believes dignity should never depend on age, status, money, or power. And if stories like this remind you why quiet strength and accountability matter, subscribe for more emotional justice stories about ordinary people, hidden courage, and the changes that happen when communities stop looking away. Thank you for watching, and remember, the people who sit quietly today are not always powerless.